Welcome
Hey!
back, Leapers. Welcome back to the Leapcast, where every week we discuss the new episodes of Quantum Leap. Welcome, say hello to Super John, Super Awesome
Hey!
Geek Show himself, guys. If you're not aware of him, well, you should be. This guy is basically, he does anything and everything. I mean, he is the vintage toy expert. He's our science enthusiast. You can find him on YouTube at Super Awesome Geek Show, Instagram at Super Awesome Geek Show, and of course on Twitter at just Awesome Geek Show. So, John, are you ready?
Whoa, I'm as ready as I can be. This show just keeps getting better every episode, I think.
Now, a couple things happened this week. Just a few guys. Now, very awesome. No pun intended. This week's episode.
And by the way, we do go over spoilers, so
Yes, spoiler warning in case you didn't
spoiler
know.
warning.
Speaking of spoiler warnings, we got Duffman's diorama.
I love
Duffman's
those
in the house.
gremlins.
Everybody say hello to Duffman.
I love the gremlins.
The diorama developer extraordinaire.
Yep.
You know, Duffman's diorama, another double D, just like me. Not in that way. Calm down, people. First, we got Super Awesome Geek Show. He's at two places at once. See, he leaped back after the show to say hello to everyone. So that's how he's able to do that, guys.
Yeah.
And let's see who else we have here. We got
Rolando's in there somewhere.
William H. Grimsley.
Hey, William.
The Earl of Grimsley is in the house. Saying, hey, Dave, hello. I'll stop them while at work. Make sure to like and share as I have later, Gators. Anytime.
His is three moon wolf instead of three wolf moon.
Yep. Will is a writer, a gamer, a YouTuber. He does anything and everything except backflips. You got to pay extra for that, guys.
There's Rolando.
He is the temporal mod for all of YouTube because he is in everyone's stream. Whenever you pop into someone's stream in the community, he is there. I'm not convinced that he's not a leaper.
Yeah, Rolando. Somehow he knows too. He's got like a schedule or something. He knows where everybody's live streams are. Yeah.
And by the way, guys, putting this in the chat, we have the White Shadow. No, it's the White Shadow.
Chip.
There's White Shadow. By the way, guys, I'm pinning a link in the top of the chat, guys. If anyone wants to leap into the imaging chamber with us here.
Oh yeah, pop live. In. Yeah.
No, leap in. Remember?
Someone leap in. Yeah, leap in and say hi. Let's get more people on the stream.
This stream is always an open stream for anyone and everyone. You want to talk about the show? Maybe you're new to the show. You're a fan of the old show. Hop on in, leap in with us, join us, and also, hey, if you happen to be a YouTuber, you want to promote your own channel. Hey, this is an open platform for everyone, guys. So please consider doing so. And if you're shy, you don't have to show your face. I mean, I'm showing my face, But so Ben, we get a lot of goodness in this episode. One, we get Ben leaping into 1989, San Francisco earthquake, the big one, the biggest one that they had. Me and John were both alive during that time, so we remember all the craziness going on.
I remember the double-decker bridge collapsing on itself and them having to close. It happened just like you saw right when the World Series was about to start. Yeah.
I liked what they did. They took original footage, they added additional footage to it, like the military helicopters coming into the bay to help with survivors and airlifting people. Oh geez, Duffman says, "Do you have a strawberry video, Rolando?"
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to buy strawberries. I got it tomorrow when I'm at the store. I'll buy strawberries. I forgot to buy some.
I don't know exactly what this is about, but if it's something does this have to do with Scarif After Dark?
I think everyone's going to be eating a strawberry in a fancy way, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not a strawberry person, so that will not be happening on Dave's Dimension. But we get Ben leaping into 1989. So back from the Old West, back to 1989. And he just so happens to leap into a soon-to-be divorcee.
Yeah. It's funny how he doesn't even try to blend in at first.
Yeah.
When he leaps in, it's just like, who are you? What's your name? What's going on? Like,
yeah.
You'd think he'd just be like, okay, I have to try and pretend that I know what's going on.
Rolando threw the link in the chat for those that dare tread. And you may need to counsel with Father Josh at a later time, Seth Care Bear. You may have to confess your sins afterwards with that one. But yeah, Ben leaps into 1989. He's getting the news that the person he's leaped into is going to be divorced, and just so happens that he remembers exactly what's about to happen, which I think is kind of ironic. We never really saw Sam like, wait a minute, this is happening at this moment. Like, it was a little too on the nose almost. Like, wait a minute, it's 1989. We're in San Francisco. He puts it all together like, oh, this is the earthquake. But
yeah, I'm not sure I would put that together at first. It wouldn't be till the earthquake started shaking that I went, oh.
White Shadow says, it was a good video, Dave. It was well worth the leap.
Because I don't know when. I know things that happened.
Yeah.
And I might remember where I was or certain things about it, but I'm not going to remember the exact date.
And here's the thing. Ben would have been a little kid.
Yeah. I'm not going to remember the exact date.
That's what throws me off. It's not like, oh, am I going to remember? Now, unless, I think he has a photographic memory, possibly, that maybe
that's true. Yeah.
That's like the only loophole to that.
Memory and IQ, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got bright IQ, but then we find out that during the earthquake, their son is missing, and it's bringing flashes of Ben. Yeah, because I guess we find out more that Ben immigrated at 9 years old to the States.
Yeah, with his mom.
We find out that, and we find out that him and his mother weren't exactly on the best of terms because he kind of, he regrets, having to move and having to, live in New York City and do all this, and of course, he lost his mother when he was in high school. And he has a lot of regret about that. So I like that they're giving us, like, okay, something that Ben, because Ben gets to use that towards the end of the episode. I would have liked to see more motivation, like, okay, if this, and I hate to compare apples and oranges, John, you know where I'm going with this. Sam would have done things differently. I know there are the fans out there that are going to say, wait a minute, Sam would have tried to see if he could save the marriage. Ben was accepting of it. And I think in a way that's good, but also in a way, as fans of the original Quantum Leap, it feels a little lacking. Sometimes Ben feels a little bit lacking, but we have to also remember, this is not Sam, this is Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to be a little different.
But then again, do we know that they still got divorced?
We don't know that. We do know that the son and the mom reconcile. That's all that we know. We don't find out anything additionally, and that's the other thing that is a little bit lacking.
This whole thing sort of could have brought their family closer together. You know what I mean? So,
agreed.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know, really.
Another thing is, right in the beginning of the episode, when Ben leaps in, he remembers everything that happened from the last leap. Everything's so fresh in mind. And then Addison appears.
Yeah.
And he's trying to pick up, like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? Was it me? Did you hear that guy? He knew me. What's going on? And she's like, well, I got to get back to the project, and also her. And this is, John, this is your favorite part and my favorite part, I know. She's like, I got to change out this hand link.
Yeah.
She goes back to the project. She's telling Ian that, something's wrong with the link, and he's like, well, you know what? I'll run some tests on it, but here, I guess you're gonna have to use an older one. It's not the one that from the show.
Yep.
But it's that one that we've shown pictures of.
Yep.
Let me see if I can pull that back up right now. I actually have pictures.
We saw some of the preview or early images, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it back up, because I'm always so prepared right here. Keep thinking that, Dave. Here we go. Where is it? Right here. So let me pull this up. So here we are. We get finally we get the hand link. Not only the hand link,
that's the actual shot. That's the mother on the ground, and when they got electrocuted.
Because the mother gets electrocuted at one point because she's a doctor. The reason why her and the husband are estranged because they moved to that area, San Francisco, because she got a job at a hospital. She thought it would be better, but it wasn't. She was being more distant with the husband and the son, which drives a wedge, and that kind of brings on the whole divorce. But Addison's link is kind of like a hybrid between, I guess, like a modern day kind of tablet almost, and also you got some of the colored LEDs on the corner right here, which I mean those are awesome. It's a nice little updates.
It kind of throws you back to the old ones.
It makes the sounds though.
Yeah.
We can hear when she's hitting the buttons. We can hear those sounds. Yeah. The old school handling sounds. So as a nerd, I'm geeking out over it. I know, John, you were.
I like it. I like it way better. Yeah, I like it way better.
Way better. Yeah, but I mean that's So she gets that. Come on, just give us the damn imaging chamber door back. Come on, just give me that, please. But we get a lot of character development in this episode. We also find out about the mysterious leaper from the previous episode, guys.
Well, I liked. There's one thing you missed when this episode opened. We were in the present time with Addison and those guys, and they were actually discussing and sort of almost arguing about like, who's this other leaper? Where did he come from? Did you see that? There's somebody else in the leaping, and they started that discussion.
Oh yes,
and then Addison and Ben sort of continued that discussion amongst themselves, and then Addison can go back and say, Ben, this is what Ben knows next to nothing, but he saw him also. And then they explain it, like if you're going to go into that, they explain something about the leaper and what I originally thought was we were seeing the cowboy that the leaper leapt into and not who the leaper was. But that didn't turn out to be true. That didn't turn out to be true. We get a little bit more into
this now.
Yeah.
Now the question is, one, does Ben see him as he is?
Yeah, he did. That's what they said. Ben saw him as...
Because in the original show, you'd have to physically touch a leaper, and then you would kind of alter, and then you'd see each other as you were. But then they kind of took that from the original show, because remember, Al could see Aaliyah after Sam touched her. So I think that's where they kind of built the science of it off, that the imaging chamber works as a filter, so you can see the truth to everything. So it's almost like back in the original show, not to get too far off subject, but animals and children, their mind was in a constant alpha state, so they can always see the truth. That's why children and animals could see Al and they could see Sam as he was. So it's almost as like when they built the imaging chamber, they also created a constant alpha wave state around the chamber, so images that were held within were always a true image in a way.
Yeah.
But yes, Rolando, they did touch on that. Now there was a lot of conjecture. It's like, okay, they found the person right away, and I loved how they found it, because Ian's like, listen, this could take weeks. Who knows how long it'll take, and then bing.
Yeah, and he goes
up, and he's like, how did that happen? And
it's magic.
Magic's like, it's magic. I mean, I want more of that,
Yeah.
I want them to kind of like, put them in a situation where Magic somehow, like, he's surviving. That's why he's Magic.
Well, I liked how the other thing is, I mean, we're jumping a little bit, because I liked how in their discussion they said there's three possibilities. They were like, either it's another government,
and these were possibilities.
And these were things that we brought up. Yeah, we brought up the same possibilities. They were like, either it's a foreign government creating a project,
yes,
or it's a corporation, a business, because they got apparently we found out in this episode that they got
what have I been saying the past couple weeks?
they got pieces of the technology from. It's kind of like, I guess, if they do like a top secret, like imagine they're designing a new plane at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works or whatever. Okay?
Magic
Sometimes they might
touched about how they were like, they're like, well, there are different contractors we use when we build this base.
So they might contract with these people for that part, and this company would for that part. But no one has the full picture, so hopefully no one can put together what they're actually building. But they were afraid someone might have done that.
Think of someone like in an accounting department. They could trace that.
Yeah.
Someone with accounting experience could do that. But
someone
remember
like
what
Batman,
I said last
Bruce
week.
Wayne would put it together.
Remember what I said last week. What about the old project? Stalin's Gate, New Mexico. Who's to say that it's still under lock and key? Any number of things can happen. There's still that. Okay?
And then they said the third option was, what if it's someone who hasn't left yet? What if it's in the future?
This project, but in the future. And Magic's head was just like, my head's hurting.
Yeah. They were like, 5 or 10 years down the road, someone else could
20
leap.
Or 30.
Or that, you don't know how far, but someone could start leaping. And from Ben's perspective, they could bump into each other because the future leapers leaping into the past.
Yeah, you're zigzagging across and forth through quanta. So I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool. I was like, and then they track the guy down, like you said. It's magic. They track the guy down, but they show him. They do this scenario where they're like, okay, so in the imaging chamber, Addison and us who are watching from the outside on the computer, we see Ben. Everyone else in that time frame sees the person Ben is in.
Exactly.
So there's like this layer in front of them. But Addison sees Ben. And then they were like, and then you've got this other leaper, which Ben and Addison, because they are like the imaging chamber, the way it works and the way this alpha wave works.
Their brain waves are linked, so that's why she always sees each other.
They can see the other leaper as the leaper.
Yeah.
And the cowboy that he was is what the rest of the world in that time frame sees. So that led us to know that when that guy touched Ben and said, who are you? Why are you following me? We as the audience were not seeing the cowboy, which is what I thought we were seeing. We're actually seeing the other leaper, and they go to his house. They go to his house in this episode, and you see him again.
Before tuning in, Francis. Yeah, this episode was a fun episode because we get Jen and Magic tracking down. Mystery Leaper. I'm not going to call him Leaper X.
Mystery Leaper. Yeah.
It's Brand X. No, I'm not. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Francis showed up in the chat, and we got Brody and Freya's chosen one. So we got a number of other
Freya,
people.
I want to welcome Freya into the chat. Freya was hanging out with Colbane and the rest of us the other night. Welcome to Dave's Dimension. Welcome for hanging out. By the way, if anyone wants to drop any links, drop a link, and Rolando or anyone else who's a mod will go ahead and they will copy and paste it in the chat for you, okay?
Or Brody's got a great collage image there of all these awesome horror.
But better yet, I'm going to do, you know what I like to do here. John knows what I like to do. I like to share power with everybody. White Shadow, you got a wrench? Freya, if you want to drop any links to any social media or anything you might be promoting for you or your family, significant others, the link, Brody, you have now the power.
TP for my bug hole.
Well, I can't help you with TP, Brody. I'm sorry. I just can't.
I've been loving the new episodes of Beavis and Butthead, man.
Honestly, I know this is sacrilegious, but I can't bring myself to watch it. I watched the movie, which even for Beavis and Butthead, it felt like jumping a shark. It really did.
Oh, come on! I loved it.
We're not here to talk about Beavis and Butthead.
I know, but I loved it still.
Hey, we got Jay Vizsla in the house.
Hey, Jay Vizsla.
But we had a lot. We're going to be talking back and forth on Quantum Leap. We're going to be skipping ahead because there's so many good parts in here. Like,
oh yeah,
when Jen and Magic track down the mystery leaper. But he doesn't. He has not.
He has no clue. Yeah, no clue.
Yeah, this is him before he's recruited to be in Quantum Leap.
I totally believed him. Also, this is before. If someone contacts him to Leap, whether it's Magic or someone else who does it, or it's a total different group of people.
Well, my thing is this:
he hasn't leapt yet. It is in the future. Yeah.
Well, I think that Magic and our Project Quantum Leap is to blame now. Because what if someone is watching Jen and Magic, and they see them go to this guy's house, and maybe they investigate. Why would they be investigating this Marine that's just
And they kind of bring that up.
And now maybe he gets chosen because they went to him.
That's what he said. That's what what's his name said.
Ian.
Ian was like, "What if we just jump started it by going over there? Like now, like we chose him by doing this. You know what I mean? Like
it's like
And the girl's like, she's like, "Stop it! My head's gonna explode." You know what I mean? Because
think Bill and Ted and Back to the Future. I'll explain.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted, the only way that they were able to complete their mission was they had to make sure that they went after they finished their project, they would have to go back and set everything up that they would need to happen.
Yeah.
So things have to happen in a certain order.
Hide the keys behind the bushes, set up the tape
all
recorder.
That we know, John, here's one for you. For all that we know, he's going to be recruited by Magic and Jen in the future, maybe to go back in time, and he purposely has to shove Ben to try and make him think that he's on a different mission altogether. I know that's way out there, but who knows? Maybe he's recruited to try and help Ben in some shape or form. We don't know. He could be part of an evil project. He could be part of anything. For all we know, he could be recruited. He could have been contacted by Janice, for all that we know. And we haven't heard from Janice in the past few episodes.
It's been like 2 or 3, yeah.
So expect something either next week or the week after, I'm guessing. That's my prediction. Next week or the week after. Let's just check on the chat right here. You have awakened my bunghole. No, that wasn't me. That was the tacos, Brody. That was the tacos. Too much nachos. Listen, too much nachos will get you backed up. Trust me.
Go down to Francis's comment there.
I got to work my way down.
In the show.
John, I'm doing my best Vern impersonation.
Yeah.
Get it?
2 seconds for each one. Yeah. There you go.
For your information, they said in the show that guys stationed at Camp Pendleton, Magic said it was just down the road from them. So Quantum Leap team is in Oceanside, California.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Putting it together. So there you go.
Not even LA.
Yeah.
Oceanside, California. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point. But yeah, I mean, it tells you that. I mean, there's a lot going on. This guy. He even says, wait a minute. He's like, oh, you just, Magic says you're just going to welcome us in. Well, an admiral in civilian clothing comes to my house. This obviously has to do with something like deep cover or deep secret. So yeah, I'm going to welcome that in. Yeah, you're an admiral. I'm just a lowly little soldier. So yeah, you're my superior. I'm letting you in.
Not just any lowly soldier though. He apparently was pretty decorated. She was going over how many medals and things that he's won. So, or been given. I guess you don't. I mean, So earned. He's earned a lot of medals.
He was all about. He's like, listen, my family, we came here, didn't have much. All I want to do is to serve my country. Like, he's full blown patriotic.
Yeah.
This is someone who, if we weren't suspecting him as being a bad guy, he could be a prime candidate for Project Quantum Leap.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the other part of it. That's what I mean. Like once
a Boy Scout.
Once Magic and them meet him, it's like it's exactly like what Ian said. Like if they're gonna need to get someone down, like say 5 or 10 years down the road, they still don't have Ben back.
Exactly.
They need something.
And
if they need someone to go, he's one of those people that are like the perfect candidate to go.
And if he's still that kind of Boy Scout,
that's
what Sam Beckett was.
Yeah.
Without being a professional soldier, that's how Sam was. So I think he could be an ally, but he could also go the other way. Imagine this. Imagine, think of. I'm sure you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, I love
the
that
Disney Plus series, right?
Yeah.
Think of what's his name? John Walker, right? He gets slighted. He gets angry. He goes down a dark road. But he was supposed to be like this really good soldier.
True.
But he gets kind of shunned, and it twists and he shifts into an evil gear. Who's to say that he can't have that same kind of situation? Like, he gets this glimpse, like, wait a minute, this admiral's coming to my house. He's all interested, and then suddenly, wait a minute, I haven't heard nothing in months. What's going on here? And like, maybe he starts snooping his nose, and maybe he gets approached by someone's like, hey, you know what? Forget that admiral. We're going to give you the same damn opportunity.
Didn't Ian say that same thing too? What if now he starts snooping around and looking up magic to see what's going on?
Any number of things can happen. Yeah.
And if there's if he does find that there's another group, he could even volunteer for that other group.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Did you recall what Jen said? Well, you cannot compete with a private entity or take jobs outside of the service while you're serving.
Yeah.
Because that can be considered. If I'm correct, and please, anyone out there, you want to correct me, please do. If I'm wrong, that could be considered treason. Because if let's say you were to give information or you were to work on behalf of another organization, private, whether it's foreign or domestic, that's still betraying your company or your country, rather. Maybe it's not providing them with secrets, but still, when you're in the military, at least as far as I've understood it, you are basically a product of you are owned by the company, by the country, so to speak. So it's not like
I've got a friend who was in that situation. I think what happened is when his military career was over, then he could work for a private company, and so he had to wait until it was done. Yeah. And now he works for a private contractor doing very similar things to what he did in the military, but he works for a private contractor now instead of the military.
Ferris says, okay, let me in to speak. Well, the link is right up there if you want to come in.
Yeah, come on in.
The link is pinned at the top of the chat. If anyone wants to leap in, speaking of there, you popped up for 1 second, then you popped out again. What happened? Ferris, try again if you can. Ferris popped in for like half a second, then popped back out. Try again if you can. I think Ferris had issues the 1 week. Was popping in and out because of Wi-Fi. There we go.
You don't have to use the video if you don't want to. Just do the...
No, it's as soon as he pops in, he pops out again. Almost like his... it could be your Wi-Fi. Nope. Okay. No worries. I would, but my internet connection is terrible, Francis says.
Yeah.
But, we had a lot... And speaking of the future, we've been talking about the future a lot. Well, we haven't talked everything about the future. But let's first... White Shadow... I did that when I left military, had to leave for work for private sector. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can't do both when you're in the military, I don't think. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the future, Ian brought up something very, very critical. When we were talking about could this leaper be from the future? Most likely, that's definitely what it looks like it's going to be. Ferris says, let's see here. Pull that up. There's a lot going on in those sentences. That is and is not true. Something going on in there? Was this something we were seeing? I'm not clear on that, but soldiers can have a second job with their command's approval, he says. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But going back, we had talked about the future, about a project from the future or someone from Project Quantum Leap's future. But also, here's something else. One thing that entered my mind was, okay, if this person used our project in the future, who is going to be their observer? And now, if we can see that leaper, and we can see that person as they are, could we also see their observer? Because in the original Project Quantum Leap, Sam couldn't see Zoe.
No, yeah, that's true.
So that's going to be something interesting, because if we now can see the leaper as they are at any point in time, even without touch.
Did Al see Zoe or not?
No, because Al was tuned to Sam's brainwave, so he can only see what Sam saw.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if we do come across.
Well, we don't even know who Ben's handler is, or the mystery leaper's handler is.
Janice. What?
Yeah,
Janice?
Right? I don't know.
We don't know. But Ian came up with something very scary. What if, Ferris, you popped in and popped out again. I don't know if it's your connection. A rear admiral on your doorstep is a totally different kind of kettle of fish. Yeah, definitely. But Ian brought up that, to Magic, like, my math, basically saying that his math could potentially be off for the sheer fact that what if Ben is not going to the past but going to the future?
Oh, yeah.
And even Magic says that's not supposed to be possible. Well, a lot is not supposed to be possible. Leaping back further than your own damn lifetime is not supposed to be possible, but yet he did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot going on. In the original series, Sam could only see the evil leapers after he touched the evil leaper, and he could see their handler. Yeah, he could, after touching. Because we had two evil holograms. We had Zoe, and then when Zoe became the evil leaper, we had Tames.
Yeah.
I know, I've watched Quantum Leap way too many times. I know their names off the top of my head. I know, it's scary, guys. White Shadow says, mine was working for the same company that did my my AIT as subcontractor. I had to leave to work for them. But you are correct. I did some pizza delivery. He also worked at a bar in Germany. Did they have good schnitzel? How can Addison see another room without Ben in the other room? Well, everything's a holographic projection. So even though Ben's not in there yet, she can still walk through there. Same thing happened in the original show. Al could pass through anything, even though Sam hasn't seen it. I mean, one time, Al used his hand link and was able to find a bullet, even though everything's holographic. He was able to use his hand link and use a projection from the hand link to find a bullet, which he found a young girl who could see him, and she led the lawyer to where the bullet was so they can use it. Even though that's all holograms, he could still find it was like a metal detector. He still had one. How is that possible with holograms? But hey, it worked in the show, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of anything can be explained because there's one thing when it comes to movies or TV shows, guys. If you ever need to explain anything, it's in the script.
Yeah, the writers.
If it's in the script, it's in the script.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is, guys. But here's the thought. Okay, guys, tell me what you think. Okay, now I want to know what you guys think. Well, first let me take this off here, right there. So, is Ben trying to leap into the future? Is he trying to slingshot himself into the future? Because we started in like 1990, like around was it 1982 or something like that, and then he
leaped into 85,
85, then 95, and then the 70s, and then we see him go all the way back to the 1800s, and now he's back. I mean that kind of
and now
gives
he's
some credence.
He went to what, like 1910 or something? I don't know, 1920.
Not yet. I don't think he leaped into 1920 yet.
Well, yeah, they showed the cars. Those cars were like 1920s Model T and whatever. Yeah,
my brain is Swiss cheese. But
the clothing the people were wearing.
If you look at his leap so far, it could suggest either way. But it would, like him leaping into the future. how would they wouldn't even be able to project, and they would have to rely on Ziggy, just basing on information that Ziggy's being fed, as fast as possible. Like, hey, oh, okay, if we're lost here, okay, we have X amount of dollars. You have this, you have this, you have this. Okay, let's try and figure out a plan. It's not going to be accurate, but that's the kind of situation Ziggy would probably be in.
Yeah, you're right. If they leap into the future,
I mean, it's going to be a lot of guesswork.
There's no records to fall back on to tell what he's supposed to do to leap out. So,
I mean, it's good,
but that might not be Ben's plan. If you had a plan to get to some future date, there's got to be a reason he wants to hit that future date.
Well,
it's not
John,
just for the sake of leaping to the future.
Okay.
I think he thinks there's a moment in the timeline in the future that he needs to get to.
John?
So I don't think he's planning on leaping out once he gets to that future point.
Take a look at the screen.
Yeah. Like
is Sam in the future?
Yeah.
Because if let's say Sam got to the point where he needed a break from leaping. Well, what would be the best way for him to stay out of history's way and not cause any kind of contamination to the past? So take himself into the future where no one knows him and he's hiding off somewhere. That's one possibility. Because if he is, because remember, I posed this question before, is Ben's destination to find Sam or someone or something else? Who's to say it's not, if he is leaping towards the future, could it be to find Sam? We don't know. And also, I mean, for all that we know, I've seen a lot of people bring up the Al's bar from the last episode, Quantum Leap. What if that really wasn't in the past? What if that really was some kind of temporal waypoint somewhere else, and kind of like a limbo?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that that's not the case? And maybe Sam is there. We don't know. Maybe Sam is waiting for Ben. But there's a lot of other questions that we still have yet to answer. But let's catch up on the chat here. Ben found out something that happened in the past somehow and found out this new leaper was the one who did it. So Ben is trying to hit the future to stop this new leaper for some reason. But there's one problem with that. I'm going to throw the grandfather paradox at you. If Ben stops this person from doing whatever heinous event that they're going to do, then how will he even know about it? So how does he even go to that time to stop that person in the first place? Grandfather paradox. If you go back in time and kill your grandfather before your parents are born, you're never born. So how can you go back in time and kill your grandfather? So I'm going to throw that at you, but also it depends on what rule of time travel you're dealing with.
Yeah,
because there have been some loopholes out there.
That's if you believe there's only one Earth and one timeline. But the whole idea of using quantum, they already said they're using quantum computers in this.
Yes.
And quantum computers by definition,
Andrew, you and me both.
A quantum computer by definition means there are multiple universes. They already proved that in real life, like our reality, because here's how a quantum computer works. When they turned on that first quantum computer, they said, if quantum reality is a multiverse, okay, then when we turn on our quantum computer in our universe, if it does a calculation, let's just put it in terms we can understand. If it does a calculation, if I tell it to do a calculation, and it does a calculation in 1 second, okay, our processors are capable of doing that calculation in 1 second, okay? If there's just one computer, all right? If when you turn the quantum computer on and it does the calculation faster than 1 second, then that means it used more chips than what's in that computer. And the only way to get more chips and more calculation time is if there's two computers. And what happened is, in real life, like in our world, when we turned on the quantum computer for the first time, the one that we have, and we told it to do this calculation, it did it so fast that they calculated there must be 15,000 computers that have done that calculation. And that means that we know about 15,000 alternate realities. We live in a multiverse of at least 15,000 Earths. And that was verifiable proof because the computer could not do that calculation that fast if there were not if it were not borrowing. Basically what happens is an electron in our world, when you go to view an electron, you can see it disappear and reappear in quantum theory and everything. And
Andrew, you could be right, Andrew.
Where's it going when it disappears? It goes into another multiple universe. So essentially, that electron, when it's doing its calculation for our computer, it's jumping to another computer in another universe, another computer in another universe, another computer in another universe, then jumps back to our universe, all in those split seconds, and gives us a calculation that can happen faster than a calculation on our own single universe, thereby proving that there are multiple universes because it did the calculation faster than is possible in our universe alone. So whenever someone makes a decision in the past or the future, it breaks off into another universe, another timeline. So I could go in the past and kill my grandfather, but my timeline is unique to myself. So when I go back to the future, I didn't change my time. I changed a different timeline.
Back to the Future. Like you just said Back to the Future. So here, Back to the Future 1 is a perfect example of what John just said. Marty McFly accidentally goes back to 1955. He meets his parents. Now, at that point, when he bumps into his parents, that is a completely different alternate. Well, no, technically, the moment where it's an alternate timeline is when he runs over that one pine tree, making a lone pine farm. But that's the beginning. That's the beginning of an alternate timeline.
Well, the only difference is when Marty went back to his normal time, he saw the changes that he made in the timeline.
He witnessed, but when he returned to his future, I mean, that was his first glimpse at this alternate timeline, where he was no longer, I
think Back to the Future goes on the premise that there's only one Earth and one timeline. That's why things changed. Like if I go to the past and alter the past, and then when I go to the future, it's going to be exactly the same as my current timeline.
Well, I mean, there's
unless you jump timelines and jump Earths at the same time.
Well, I mean, look at it this way: one, that was 1985, right? Two, Back to the Future 2. Even Doc says the timeline skewed into this little tangent, which could also be interpreted as it's an alternate timeline. Doc said everything but an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he did also say, he didn't say the term universe, but he did use the term galaxy when, if there was a paradox, hopefully it would only be, it would only affect our own galaxy. But I mean, he used everything but the term alternate universe or multiverse, because we didn't really have the term multiverse back then. Only in comics, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's basically alternate timeline is basically alternate universe. If I did, instead of, if I never did YouTube, then I would just be, I would probably be playing on my Xbox right now, and I have a stream. That's one alternate timeline. Sliders is a perfect show that examines that. Parallel universes. Every time you make a decision, whether you decide to wear blue shoes today instead of green, that each little decision is another strand of rope unwinding, and it's its own unique timeline from that point on. Some of those may be pretty damn near identical, but there's those slight little differences that make it a completely different universe. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, we don't know what the exact rules of this quantum leap is.
Yeah.
We know that in the original show, Sam had the image of the person he leaped into. Now, in this show, Addison tells Ben, you're not the person you leaped into isn't a young person anymore. But we saw hints of that in the original series too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot we don't know. Like, is there a waiting room? Where is Ben's body being kept? And are they keeping all these people sedated, or are they actually talking to him like Al did?
Well, I really thought they were gonna.
You know?
I almost thought they were gonna go into that in this episode, but they didn't really do it.
The problem with that theory is that quantum effects happen consistently at every point, aka electron entanglement. It has nothing to do with quantum computers. I think we got an argument going on here.
Well, I might not be. I might not be explaining it right, but yeah, if you look up, I can't remember the guy's name, but if you look up the paper on when they turned on the quantum computer, it proved multiverse theory. There's an actual paper on it. You can look it up.
In this show, it's one timeline. Every change Ben and Sam makes affects the timeline he came from, and it's not so separate universe. And that is extremely accurate, because I wouldn't be surprised if Francis read the books, the novels, because they touched in the novels, they touched on that a lot.
Because they do say, they do. Well, they do say in this episode too that now the kid grows up to be an architect that saves hundreds of lives. Yeah.
Allow me to finish this one thought. What they did was in the novels, they basically touched on Al in the book several times touches on how every time he comes out of that imaging chamber, it's potentially a different timeline for him. Where some timelines Ziggy is a female, some timelines Ziggy is a male, some timelines Gushi is there, some timelines Gushi isn't there. That there, every time Al steps into the imaging chamber, he's not quite sure what version of reality he's going to be stepping into when he steps out of that chamber, because the changes that Sam makes, and with the information that Al provides Sam, obviously those affect Sam's choices and the outcomes of everything. So that was one thing that they did heavily in the novels. Francis says he didn't read the novels, but that's actually something that they touched on a lot. That everything was constantly changing. It was in a constant state of flux, to borrow a term from Doctor Who. Everything it was in a quantum state where things were constantly changing. Anything and everything could happen. It wasn't necessarily a fixed point. The only fixed point was basically Sam leaping. Sam and Al were basically the only fixed point in the entire run of Quantum Leap, let's be honest. Because it was always Sam and Al. That was your only constant. Either you had Ziggy, you had Dr. Beaks, or you had someone else in their places. I mean, there's a lot to go on with this new show. And speaking of going on, guys, I can't wait for next week's episode. We get a Halloween-themed episode Halloween. We'll see if it's another Boogeyman episode, because that was an infamous show. That was an infamous episode from the original series. Anyone who is an old-school Quantum Leap fan, you know that there was a record. Now, this was just a freaky-ass coincidence, John. I don't know if you ever heard this. When people originally recorded the Boogeyman episode, their VCRs did not record.
No, I didn't hear that.
There was this really crazy thing that, for some reason, a lot of people's VCRs did not record, and they claimed that the episode was haunted. Even some people working on the show thought that episode was haunted. And it's the one where Sam leaps into a horror writer, Ray. I can't think of the full name. And he, and the house, his mansion is like all decked out, cobwebs, and there's these mysterious deaths that keep happening at the house.
His friend is Stephen King, right?
yeah. His little friend is Stevie King.
Stevie King, yeah.
And the mother, Stevie King's mother, picks him up in a car that looks just like Christine, and he's got a dog named Cujo.
Yep.
And Sam is dropping all these little that would be pretty cool. That would be a good story. He keeps dropping these hints to Stephen King. I love the Kisses with Fate. That's one thing I'm really hoping that they kind of throw a few into this series, but we'll see what happens. Andrew says Jerome. I almost said Jerome. Andrew Jerome Watts says Janice is definitely working with Ben. She and Addison will appear together. That would fit nicely in the next episode.
Yeah,
they have to come together to save Ben.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Those that didn't see the trailer for next week's episode, Ben leaped into an exorcist. Yeah, Ben is going to be dealing with an exorcist. We actually see someone doing a full floating above the bed, Ghostbusters style. I'm like, bring it on. I know there's going to be a Ghostbusters joke in there. I swear to God. I'll bet you $20. There's going to be a Ghostbusters joke in there somewhere. But yeah, I mean,
it looked like it was in, because the cars driving down the road were like 20s model cars.
Yeah, and all this is the setup I want. I want somebody back at the project to say like, "Hey, who are you going to call?" And they just look at magic. I'm just, please let that happen.
Yeah,
please. Yeah. Oh, I'd be such a happy nerd. I would die. But yeah, I mean, it's good. Ben, we don't see him show up with anyone else. He's a solo priest there to perform an exorcism. And he's a man of science, so he doesn't believe in demons or anything.
Yeah.
But going back to the original Quantum Leap,
I would have a hard time with that too. I'm like,
well, I mean, aside from me,
I don't believe in ghosts.
Aside from me, dressing up as a Ghostbuster, for a long time, I was a person of science, purely science. But there are things that you just cannot explain. I have my own experience, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Okay, but
I just love that by the way, there's a new show I've been watching on Netflix where they lock people for 28 days in a haunted house, and they film them 24/7 during this 28-day period. And I'm like, you watch, by the end of the show there will still be no ghosts caught on camera. I'm like, because they've never caught a ghost on camera. And I'm like, and I always go like there was one where there's like a cold spot and the person feels something.
Andrew says when Addison lined up the handling so Ben could find his wife's heart, reminded me of the pool episode when Al helps Sam hit the balls on the pool table. Yeah.
And the plane one, the airplane,
But what I'm curious to see if we get something similar to the Boogeyman episode, because there's a scene, I brought this up in past episodes, where Al's image actually grabs Sam by the throat and lifts him up because it was the devil, or at least an agent of the devil. Could we have something like that here? Like Ben somehow is going to succeed in exorcising demons. Could we have someone kind of like appear to Ben?
Yeah.
And also, there was this is kind of a little emotional for a little bit of a soft touch for the ladies. Near the end of the episode, when Addison is back at Project Quantum Leap after Ben leaps, she's talking to Jen, the head of security. She's trying to like, hey, you want to grab a bite to eat, and maybe some housewives, watching the housewives or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's like, sure. And then Addison starts talking about how Ben is different in there. In other words, the imaging chamber, him in his leaps, that he's different. He's a different person. So is Sam. Mm-hmm. It was like, when you're leaping, you find yourself in situations that you kind of step outside of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And
you become more empathetic, I think is what happens. You become more empathetic.
I don't know if he's more empathetic, but she mentioned how he seems more vulnerable. But she's like, is it weird that I'm falling more in love with him? Because she's seeing him do, to risking his life. I mean, still, the best scene, to me, my favorite scene out of the 6 episodes so far. My favorite scene out of these 6 episodes is him jumping off the damn space shuttle. I know I keep mentioning it, but I'm like, just the visual of it. I'm controlling the leap, and he jumps off the space shuttle, headed towards Mir, the Russian space station. I mean, that's like, what kind of a person does like? That's someone who has like nothing to lose. And he's taking chances that Ben would never take, like running into a building that's going to collapse at any minute now.
Yeah,
to save a child he personally doesn't even know, and to help that elderly person, he's doing stuff that Sam would do. But I mean, you take a scientist who is all books, and he just goes and jumps out. He's doing things that he would never do, and I think it's showing Addison sides to Ben that she never thought was even possible. She liked how he was always honest and caring and enduring, like always trying to do the right thing. And now she's seeing him like, wait a minute, he just cranked that up to 11. Some of the stuff he's doing is stuff that I would never, like he's running, dodging bullets, running into collapsing buildings. He's using. We see him using a little bit more science, like when he's on top of the car, because obviously the tires in the car will insulate any electricity on the ground, so that he won't get zapped. I mean, it's you do get a John. If you or I were leaping, one, our memories are switched cheese, so we don't remember every little detail. So we don't have the memories of maybe the people who we kind of left behind. So we don't necessarily feel tied down to like, oh, I have to do whatever I have to get back. I'm like, well, while I'm here, I'm going to do whatever I can to help these people wherever I am, whatever that is. Because the next leap might take me home, it might not. The next 20 leaps might take me home, it might not. I don't know what's going to happen, and I think it kind of frees that kind of a personality there. Francis says quantum leap computer actually did computation, and the only way it could do it was the superposition of the qubit was because it existed in more than one universe. Yep.
Yeah.
And we got Legacy of a Nerd. Legacy of Nerd. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Legacy.
Anyone who has Legacy's link, and Legacy, please feel free to drop your own link in there, because guess what? You have a wrench. So Legacy of a Nerd, please drop your link to your YouTube channel.
It's already in there.
Facebook page. Drop it in there, please. Speaking of dropping in, we got Dino the Machino in the house.
Dino. By the way, I thought that I thought that the military kid, when they showed his picture on the screen, he looked a little bit like a young Dino.
Oh, geez. We'll have to. I'll have to find that photo somehow, and we'll do a comparison.
I'll have to look that up. I didn't know there was a newer.
Dino without his wig. We know Dino loves his wigs.
Yeah.
There you go, Legacy of a Nerd. Thank you, Duffman. Duffman's dropping in. Legacy of a Nerd has an amazing channel, amazing Facebook page, guys. If you're, if you're Ranger fans, if you're just fans of anything in general, please check out his Facebook page. Just an awesome page, guys. You don't want to miss out. Of course, we got Dino the Machino. Every Sunday, him and Danny do their little Sunday morning show where it's all workout and figs. They show you how the everyday person can do some amazing workouts to get yourself nice and tip-top shape, get healthy, maybe lose a few pounds before Thanksgiving next month. Come on, people. Magic stopped dyeing his sideburns black. That was pretty fast. They were jet black in the episode. Yeah. Well, for all we know, maybe he had the dark sideburns because he was finishing recording stuff for Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed.
Yeah.
And it's that's a fun game, guys. If you guys are looking for a new fun game to play, Spirits Unleashed, where you can play as a Ghostbuster or as a ghost.
As the ghost, yeah.
There you go. Not the ghost with the most, babe. That'd be a cool DLC. Come on, do a crossover. Beetlejuice versus the Ghostbusters. Make that happen, guys. There is a fan made film called Freddy Krueger versus the Ghostbusters. It goes back. No, I'm not joking. You can look it up on YouTube. Made by Brax Films, I think it was called. They made two movies. They did Return of the Ghostbusters, and they did Freddy Krueger versus the Ghostbusters. It was a Seattle-based group of Ghostbusters, but they had the proton packs, and it was a nice little fan film. I've seen worse fan films out there. Star Trek. Don't forget to don't watch Scream.
No. He's got a movie called Don't Scream that he did when he was young. And it's up on Geek Strong's channel for a limited time for the Halloween.
It's not an adult movie, is it?
No. Okay. No. It's pretty good.
I thought it was maybe a challenge. I don't know. Geek Strong Don't Scream video. Rolando with the links. We got Rogue Demon collects. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Rogue Demon.
So yeah, next week's episode, I mean, we get Ben. I'm just wondering, like, is Addison going to be scared crapless? I mean, let's be honest. She's only a hologram, but still, they seem like someone floating in the air, or like the sores on the face, or the person starts spitting out pea soup. I'm just saying that's going to be pretty interesting to see what they do with that, and because every episode we see more of the storyline, both in the past and the present, develop further. So how is that going to develop further now? What's going to happen with this? I mean, obviously Jen is still going to be looking for like more. She's going to be looking for who else could be having a project. Who else has the means to put together a project? And I love that they brought up Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That was cracking me the hell up. It really was. Legacy says, "Thanks, guys. Everyone here is awesome." Well, literally, John is awesome. He's Super Awesome Geek Show.
Well,
I mean, you can't make that up, guys. Come on. Again, guys, there's John's link if you want to check out some of his amazing videos. This guy is Galactus, guys. He's got Galactus now. He's got the, forget Hot Toys. He's got a HasLab.
Maybe we'll do maybe I'll do a video tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. My other room is almost ready to be used again for doing videos. So
now you know what we need. We need someone to do a custom Quantum Leap figure. Either a Sam or Ben, like in a white outfit, doing the pose. Come on, there's got to be some figure out there we could do with that. Come on. But by the way, a little off the subject. This Thursday, a Thursday night stream is back in the rotation for this week because Hasbro ticked me off. Dave's Dimension will be hosting Thursday night extreme stream on Thursday night at 9:00 p.m. We got some gripes thanks to Hasbro. We got some gripes coming through the pipeline, guys. So check me out on Thursday nights. All I'm going to say is Lightning Collection, Power Rangers, Cobra Kai. That's all I have to say. So what do you think? What do you think we're going to see in the next episode, John? What do you see happening in the next episode?
Well, I mean, the way things are going, I mean, I do expect to see them get back to Janice at some point. So I'm hoping that we get back to Janice next episode.
Okay.
But what that would entail, it's kind of difficult.
I got it. Now, since you mentioned Janice, okay. Speaking of Janice, okay. Something's going on with the project. They lose contact with Ben. Okay? They lose contact with Ben. They can't lock on to him. Addison, she can't communicate with him. Ben is freaking out. He's on his own. Janice reaches out to the project. She's somehow able to lock on to Ben. And she acts as a go-between between the project and Ben.
In her own little makeshift imaging chamber. Yeah. Because
maybe someone is blocking them. And it just so happens that it's an exorcism going on. And maybe some of them think it's superstitious and some of them just don't know what the hell's going on. But it could be whatever alternate project is out there or someone else is out there trying to block the project, trying to sabotage the project in some shape or form, whether it be the devil or whoever is out there, God, fate, time. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they didn't shy away. Technically didn't shy away from angels and demons in the older Quantum Leap, so
the older Quantum Leap, we had an angel on Halea when Sam leaped into the taxi driver that was trying to earn enough money so him and his father could get the medallion and start their own cab company in New York City. We had the devil actually physically grab Sam by the throat. We had an evil project with evil leapers and an evil version of Z called Lothos. I mean,
and that there were implications,
dealt with reincarnation.
Yeah.
The Native American, when Sam leaped into a young Native American who was trying to go with his grandfather to get his grandfather to where his grandfather would die. Okay, and his grandfather talked about, about shedding your skin and taking on a new one. He was basically describing kind of quantum leaping in a way. We dealt with in the very final episode seeing Al's uncle Steve Stopa vanish after he finally made things right thanks to Sam, and he leaps. I mean, we've seen incarnation, we've seen God, fate, time, whoever the hell is out there. That was the term they always use: God, fate, time, or whoever is out there.
Yeah.
So let's catch up. The leaps are having a positive effect on Ben. I think this is what Addison meant. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That it's making him a better person. But also, here's the thing. In the original show, when Sam once leaped back home, he started losing all his memories. So would he still be the same person? If you take away all those experiences, are you still the same person? Does that stay with you for the most part? And that's going to be my hope, that if and when Ben does come back, that he's still going to be the same Ben. He's going to take chances, and he's going to be the person that we are seeing now leaping. That's what my hope is, anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Geek Strong saying thank you, Rolando, again. Thanks, guys. Everyone is awesome. Yo, Legacy. Hey, Rogue. Hey, Rolando. Maybe use the disguise. Oh God, yeah, that could be. There's a Power Ranger figure from Power Rangers in Space, a character by the name of Andros. His outfit is like all black. In the disguise figure is all black with like a kind of a brownish kind of cloak that goes over it. We could probably do a repaint of the body, and we could probably use that and maybe alter some of the hair a little bit, and we could probably use that as a figure. That definitely would work. Yay and dang. Yo, you Hasbro, WTF, what are you thinking? Yeah, Rogue, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on this channel, we'll talk about everything that Hasbro's going on. And we'll talk about some of the amazing streams I've been seeing. Salacious Rum, Vern, and a few others talking about that Galactus. And we're going to be waiting for the hot fire, the blockbuster that this guy, Super Awesome Geek Show, is going to be doing when he unveils his Galactus.
Yeah.
I want to see.
I still haven't opened the box. It's sitting right there.
I want to see Galactus benching like the Millennium Falcon or something. Come on, give us something like that.
It's right there. That's the box. It's still not open.
Legacy Nurse says, yeah, the Cobra Kai figures I have to say it motivates me enough to make a video 7:30 in the morning. LOL. I'm gonna have to catch that out, my friend. I saw that today. I don't want to get off topic, but man, it motivated me in ways I cannot talk. Why do a collab of Power Rangers? Exactly. Like it says, I don't mind a collab. It just wasn't done well. Yeah. It's almost like dollar store Power Rangers.
I got some really good, because speaking of collabs, there's another thing coming. It should be here by Thursday. It's the Megatron Cobra Hiss Tank Transformer. It's G.I. Joe Transformers mixed together.
So that's finally coming out. Okay,
it's arriving.
When announced it.
So I got three big items. I got Galactus, Mojo to build, and then we're gonna have that Hiss Tank Megatron to go through. So 3 big items coming up on the channel. Look at that.
I might actually repaint this throne, by the way.
I've heard decent things about the film. I've heard
it's
okay.
The throne itself does not look gold. It looks more like a really bad faded mustard. So I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it with gold.
I mean the movie I'm talking about. I've heard decent things about the movie.
I haven't seen the movie yet. I've heard good things though.
Yeah.
And I don't know those. This is a little off topic, so I do apologize to all the leapers. A certain director, by name Mr. James Gunn, is now like co-head of I guess a lot of media for when it comes to DC with Warner Brothers now.
Yeah, they're gonna do.
So he's co-chairing with another person.
They're gonna put 2 people in charge instead of 1. So instead of having a Kevin Feige, they're gonna have 2 guys.
They're gonna have Kevin 1.0 and Kevin 1.5.
1.5. Yeah, there you go.
Let's catch up. Ferris says, kind of hoping for none that gets possessed during the show next week. That'd be exciting to watch.
Yeah, the only thing that might the only thing that might is I could see them doing a full-on Halloween episode and sticking more with the leap and doing like the Exorcist kind of thing,
like a little bit,
and
maybe more like the
and
Boogeyman episode,
and keeping us like keeping the ongoing thing about the present and this other leaper and Janice, like all that could be for like an episode down the road.
Hear
They
me
could
out.
give us a break from that and just do the Halloween thing.
Hear me
I
out
could see them
with
doing
the Janice
that.
thing.
But...
Okay, hear me out on this. There's weird things that keep happening. Maybe things that like preventing Ben from getting hurt. Like something happens and like maybe like he hears some weird noise. No one else hears it, only he does. And like he just like turns all of a sudden out of nowhere. What if it's really Janice kind of looking out for him in a way? And maybe it's revealed the next episode that Janice was kind of like out of sight, out of mind, but maybe her imaging chamber wasn't fully working, but she could project sounds partially to his mind.
Yeah.
You know, something like that I think would be really cool. And plus, that would kind of like wait a minute, well, who is it that was helping him? Maybe he was thinking that it was Addison the whole time when it wasn't. But here's another thing. Can they project two separate signals to him at the same time, Janice and Project?
Well, that's...
Or will it be a situation where only one signal can occupy him at a time?
I'm actually hoping that they do it the first way, where Ben is going to see Janice on his left and Addison on his right, but Addison and Janice will not be able to see each other. So it's going to be, yeah. And I think that's going to be a cool thing to do, because he'd basically be telling Addison, "I see Janice over here. Like, what the heck's going on?" And Addison would be like, "I don't know what's going on. How'd that happen?" You know, because it is two separate imaging chambers.
Ferris, I would pay money. Projection catfight. I don't know how that would work, but I might pay money for that. But here's the thing. I mean, with that being said, I mean, the whole thing with Janice, how would you feel? And I'm just throwing this out, playing devil's advocate here. How would you feel if, when Ben saw Janice, he remembered her perfectly, and he remembered what they were planning the entire time? Would you feel betrayed? Or would you feel like, okay, this is getting interesting?
No, to me that actually would kind of make sense, because when that's how his memory keeps coming back. That's how flashes.
Everybody in this chat, I want you to give a thumbs up or a birthday cake emoji. Belated birthday to Darth Taz. We got Darth Taz in the chat here. Good friend of the channel. Fellow October birthday. He just had a birthday this past week. It was last week. Not this week, but last week. I want everyone to wish Darth Taz a happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to Darth Taz.
Yep, happy birthday. But I was gonna say, like, that actually makes sense with how he's been remembering things lately, because when he saw like the stuff with the mom and the kid in this episode, it flashed his memory back to his own mother and what happened. So when if he sees Janice off to his right or whatever, I think that would trigger the memory of him and Janice working together on for this whatever project they were working on. Now, so that would make sense with the way the show has been jogging his memory. That would actually make sense with the show. As soon as he sees Janice, it would jog his memory and make him remember what they were doing together. Now, does he immediately tell Addison, or does he keep that to himself?
Now here's one for you.
I like it. Yes, Francis.
I got next week's episode figured out. The possessed person will be a leaped in person from the other leaper, and that connection goes in and out. So the people who know him think he's possessed.
That's funny. There you go.
But speaking of Ben, this again, there's a lot of people. Some people in the fandom have been complaining that this show is mirroring things from the first show, leaping into a boxer, a bounty hunter. We're going along these certain themes, right? being in the space program, but and then of course actually being in space. But what about right at the end of the episode? Ben is pleading for the phone number.
Yeah.
So he can call his mom. He says, "It's Ben," and then he leaps. Sam did the very same thing a couple times.
Yeah.
He called his father.
He tried to call his dad.
At the end of his first leap. Well, it was technically his second leap, because when he leaped out of Captain Tom Stratton, he leaped into a baseball player. And in between, him being up at bat, he called his father, and he pretended to be someone else. He pretended to be, a cousin to Sam.
Yeah.
So I mean, it felt good. It didn't feel cheap. It didn't feel like a copy. It felt natural, and I hope they kind of keep that going. Give us those little Easter eggs that are similar but different. Let's catch up here. Happy birthday, Darth! Everyone's wishing.
To be quite frank, though, I mean, like the original Quantum Leap went for 5.
Exactly, Ferris.
The original Quantum Leap went for 5 seasons. He leapt into someone who was doing just about every profession you could think of. So, So of
every
course,
profession, including the oldest profession.
So I'm saying, of course, Ben is going to leap into some people who are doing the same profession.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how could you avoid that? I mean, like, if you know what I mean, it's almost unavoidable, Like,
well, I mean, Sam even leaped into the owner of a brothel once.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, he literally leaped into everything. Francis says, "Oh, my mom's birthday was today. She turned 94. Well, happy birthday to her, Francis."
Whoa, 94. That's great. Wow.
That's
happy
amazing.
Birthday.
The October 18th last week would have been my mother's 72nd birthday if she was still with us. Yeah, there's a lot of birthdays in October. Andrew says, "How did you feel when you first saw Evil Leaper episode with Jimmy? It was real dark when Aaliyah scratched herself. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
That shows you how dark.
Yeah.
Because after we saw the other Leaper, Leaper X, Mysterious Leaper, or Phantom Leaper.
That was the second Jimmy episode, right?
Yeah, because there was only 2. Well, technically there was only 2 Jimmy episodes, because the third one he was called something else in Mirror Mirror. But the actor who played Jimmy LaMotta was in that episode.
But this one was the second one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When Sam leaps back into Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that one was dark, but we touched on this last week with the other Leaper, that I kept saying he's not an evil Leaper, because an evil Leaper would have done far worse to Ben. I mean, he could have broke Ben's arm, he could have stabbed him, he could have done anything to make sure that he's going to stay out of there. Legacy, you just found out? That was like a while ago. Come on. It was like 20 minutes ago I gave you a wrench. Whoa, Dave gave me moderator power? Evil Green Ranger laugh. Damn straight, man. Kidding. No, you're not. Come on. The bad guys always have more fun.
Take the power and use it.
I know who you are. Pink Ranger. This is, Legacy as a nerd will appreciate this. Autograph photo from Jason David Frank.
I have him over on the 8x10 wall.
That's what I want. Okay, don't hate me for this is stupid fantasy leap. I want Ben to leap into Power Ranger.
A Power Ranger? Yeah.
He leaps into Jason David Frank and has to make a decision to stay on the show or go. Come on, make it happen. Come on. I mean, it can't be any worse than anything else that they've done. But yeah, I mean, what I want to see is I think the Janice thing, like Janice helping the project, and the project, like, well, can we trust her or not? Well, she's your only friggin' chance to maintain contact with Ben during this leap. And heaven forbid someone ever does some kind of a cyber attack. Because remember when we had that senator or congresswoman show up? And Ian was talking about cyber attacks. What's to say that we don't get some kind of other attack from like another entity or foreign power or whatever the case may be? If we get some... Screw you. I got this through his public relations. on Instagram.
He's got the green dagger there slashing my throat.
I had that up. I actually have the legacy dagger up there, but this I got through Instagram through his PR department because I built a few Gundams and I actually painted them in like a Green Ranger scheme. They loved it so bad, and also there was one picture I actually put a proton pack on the Lightning Collection Ranger. And one of his PR people messaged me. And I said, I'm like, well, is this because they're asking for my address so they can send me this picture? I'm like, well, is this legitimate? And they proved, like, they sent me information that legitimately proved it.
Yeah.
From the they messaged me from the official account, so I'm like, okay, cool. Here's my address, and they sent me this picture, and I framed it.
That's cool.
So it's a little Photoshop. It's a little image that Jason David Frank and his company made for the younger and older, and he autographed it. So yeah, I do hope to meet him one day.
He's great. He's really cool. Yeah.
Actually, a couple of years before I joined the Buffalo Ghostbusters, he was here in Buffalo at the Nickel City Con, and there's photos with him and my teammates. So if I would have joined him like 3 years before, I would have met him. Yeah. He's actually wearing one of the proton packs, and one of our teammates made a custom Power Ranger coin, and we put the Buffalo Ghostbuster pin in the center, so it looks like it's a Buffalo Ghostbuster morpher.
Gotcha.
I'm like, when I get my 3D printer up and running, that's one of the first things I want to do is make some custom coins.
Cool. Yeah.
Maybe make a little Dave's Dimension coin. I don't know, something like that. But I want to see, because Janice is kind of like she's going her own rogue element, but I think her going rogue is going to somehow help the project at some point. I think that has to happen because I talked about, could she turn evil? That's still in the cards. It could still possibly happen, but I think it would take a lot more than what has happened already to turn her evil.
Yeah,
I think if anything, she will do whatever she has to protect her father's dream of getting Sam back.
Yeah,
which I think includes this.
Yeah, I'm not sure because
Ben.
We were discussing too last time if this other Leaper was evil or not, and I'm not convinced that right now in this current show we've got an evil Leaper or anything evil going on. I think that this mysterious Leaper, I think it's more like what they said. It's the mysterious Leaper is someone from the future, either on a different project or on the same project. And
okay, hear me out.
But I don't think there's evil stuff right now going on. I don't think Janice is evil.
Future project, and it's either could be Addison or it could even be Janice as the head of the project in the future.
Yeah.
And what if her from the future actually warned her in now? That basically told her, listen, if things don't happen a certain way, if Ben doesn't start leaping, there's going to be circumstances that happen here, 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 and here. So you have to get Ben Song to jump into the accelerator. He has to leap. He has to do this. Otherwise, the project is originally failed 3 years from now. So by him being in the project and them moving forward, creating new advances in the project, improving to the government. So now the project keeps going. Because remember when Sam leaped, they kept the project going for at least another 5 years.
Yeah.
So maybe the project was going to actually fail in 3 years, but by him leaping, now they have to support that because they can see everything that's happening. They have evidence as to what's happening, and now they can see that, okay, yeah, we're going to keep funding this. We can see the advantages of this now, so we're going to keep this funding. What if it's something like that? Who's to say a Hulk can't appear to the younger self?
Or we still got the senator in this committee that is in the government that knows about Quantum Leap, the current project.
Yeah.
They could start butting in and saying, since Sam is already in the past, we need somebody. We need him. Like you need to tell us when you find him, and if there's a situation that he needs to politically correct, like wasn't there one where Sam did something with the downed spy plane? or something like that. Like,
no, they wanted him to.
Or they wanted him to, right?
Yeah. He was a cop by the name of Nick, who was on a honeymoon with his law student wife, and she was like the daughter of a senator. And Al and the government the government wanted Al to get Sam to have her tell her daddy to call, because it was the U2 that gets bombs.
Yeah, that gets shot down, right?
What you call it? They're in oh God, switch cheese memory.
It got shot
Cuban
down
Missile Crisis.
During the Cold War.
Yeah. So they wanted to try and stop that from happening, but they altered the future, but not in the way they wanted. She wound up taking over his seat in the Senate, and she actually gave continued funding for Project Quantum Leap.
Yeah. But what I mean is, like, there could be a scenario where that committee, the Senate committee that's in there today in this current show, could start asking them to do things that they don't want to do. And if they don't comply, in the future at some point, she sends back the military kid.
Andrew,
because the military kid would do what the government asks him to do.
Andrew, I definitely see that happening. And what John just said, maybe she gets a little impatient, and because obviously she's part of oversight for the project.
Yeah.
The oversight committee. So she gets her hands on all the reports, maybe including information about the mystery leaper. And maybe she approaches him, and maybe the two of them decide to is there another way for her to get a black ops version of Project Quantum Leap? Or some way to try to circumvent the project.
Where the government can say, this is your mission, I want you to do this, yeah.
And what if Magic found himself, and this is just the dark side of me coming in, what if Magic found himself in a situation where maybe he basically had to say to, they had a choice between saving someone, and just so happens that Ben was in a situation where that car accident happened, and instead of saving the brother, instead of saving her, he saved the brother instead, and then she died in a car accident. So now you don't have a problem anymore. That could be a dark little twist of fate, but it could save the project, though. That's the thing. We nodded to each other and I left. Okay, cool, very cool. See, when it comes to celebrities, I don't like to approach them. I don't want to bother them because they're just everyday people. You see a lot of people like in restaurants, like, oh, look who that is. Go over. He's eating dinner. Let him eat dinner. If he's having a drink, let me have a drink. Just say hello. Thank you. I mean, I've met a few people in my time.
I've never approached
shaking a hand, like if I'm walking by or I'm at an event and I've met someone, I'll like say, thank you. So when I met Christopher Lloyd, did I say, oh my God, Doc? I said, Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. This when I got my photo with Christopher Lloyd, I just said thank you, and I went on my way.
When I've met people at conventions and stuff, I just walk up to them and say hi. But if I see them out in the when I lived in Seattle, there was a lot of times where people were just out and about throughout Seattle or Bellevue or Redmond or doing something. Because there were a lot of times where people were in Redmond doing voiceovers for video games.
Oh yeah,
and you would see them on the streets or going to the food trucks out in the thing, and I never would walk up to someone out of the blue, but I would make eye contact, and 99% of the time, once I made eye contact, they were like, "Hey, come on over." And then they would just you just start talking to them. They weren't like I haven't really met anybody who didn't want to get a picture or talk to you or do something. Really,
I met some like older celebrities. Like I've met Gomer Pyle.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Bledsoe.
Who was the guy on
He played for the Buffalo Bills for a short minute, but he was known for the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, I remember him.
When he played in Buffalo, I was working at Lord & Taylor department store at the time, and he came in. He was buying like two dress shirts, And me and this other gentleman, Norm, we were helping him out, and he spent about an hour and a half just shooting the crap with us, just shooting the breeze, just hanging out and talking with us. He was like the best person ever. Johnny Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls, not so much. The guy's a prick. He's a nozzle.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's like you come across some people, and they're very cool. They're very down to earth.
The guy, Die Hard 2 with the airport. That was the airport, right? Was that Die Hard 2?
Yes.
The guy in charge of security there, like what was his name? I can't remember what his name is. The actor's name.
Dennis Franz. Or are you talking the cop or the guy?
Not the cop. The airport security guy, not the cop.
I have to watch it. I haven't watched it in ages.
Yeah, he was out and about one day, and I saw him, and he's like, "Come on over, let's go get some sandwiches." And then I said, "Well, I actually have a podcast, and I got my recorder. I was out doing some stuff, but I happened to have it. You want me to get it?" And he's like, "Go get it." So I ran over to the car.
That's exactly where I'm going with that. That's exactly where I'm going with that. That, because Magic, he could have used the dirt. He could have used it.
Yeah.
But he didn't, because he's a good person. He's a soldier. He's done a lot of dark things, but he wasn't going to go down that route. But if there's a situation between leaving his family behind and also losing the project for certain, knowing that he could lose the project and lose the last chance to bring Sam home, I mean, it's the lesser of two evils. Think about that choice that Al made.
Yeah.
When Sam's like, you could have been, we've said this before, you could have been free. I was free up here. I mean, it's it's the same thing. Like, one, also he, Magic would also have to take a look at it this way. Sam, I could have brought you home. I was home up here. I mean, it's there's a lot of crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things that we'll see happen. And guys, there's Quantum Leap it's gearing up. We had kind of a slow episode 2 episodes back, and we kind of gained it again. We had a fun episode last week. They finished off with a mysterious leaper. We meet the young mysterious leaper before he's even a leaper.
Yeah.
I definitely see him as a candidate. When we saw in the scenes about Ben being trapped underneath, I was almost thinking, like, would Addison try and leap into Ben and try and ricochet Ben back to the project? I mean, I was almost thinking, could this happen? But it didn't.
I thought there was going to be a weird. I was like, oh no, are they going to throw a strange weirdness? Now we're going to be all wondering what the hell. I thought when she reached down with her hand, she was going to reach in and somehow shock his brain, and he'd wake up, and she'd be like, "Did I do that?"
Some holographic charge.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh no!" Shock. I was like, but luckily they did not do that. Luckily they had the kid run in and he woke him up.
Well, there is precedence for that in a way. Remember a Good Morning Peoria when Sam leaped into a DJ? Right at towards the end of the episode, they're on the roof. Al started glowing blue. He's like, "Sam, I'm leaping." I said, "No, you're not. You're just standing too close to such and such." I mean, who knows? I mean, electricity can happen.
Yeah,
I am warming around to the quantum leap effect that they use for Ben. The kind of energy swirling around him, almost like a transporter.
I like it. I never had a problem with it. I
wish they would kind of expand it a little bit, because it just seems like it's kind of like, remember the old quantum leap effect? You had the blue aura, the electricity, and then the ricocheting beams of light, and I kind of wish they would kind of go back to that a little bit. I just kind of miss that, But let me pull up one more thing here. There we go. So we had this. Again, here's, Addison, like, this is what you're talking about right there. When he's unconscious. And then, of course, he saves the old guy. Jeez, I hope they have insurance. Now, how do you like this logo? I'm not fully sold on it. It this looks too much time tunnel-like. What do you think?
Yeah, the tunnel. It's like more Doctor
Doesn't
Who.
it?
Yeah.
I'm just I'm not overly big fan of it. But I guess there is worse out there, right? I mean, like Sam had the electricity coming out. I kind of want to create something with this effect and kind of give it like an old Quantum Leap twist. I kind of miss the old font, the old lettering title that we had. And it was funny because when they actually, the font for the original show, they actually made an actual font for it. And you know what it's called, John, right?
No, what is it called?
It's called Swiss cheese.
Is it really?
I swear to God, I cannot make that up.
That's cool.
Let me see if I can pull it up here. So do this very quickly. So let's go to Google. I like to Google. Let's go to Google. Here we go. Quantum Leap font. And let's see if I can find it here. Let's see if they have a listed here. Swiss cheese, see? You can't make that up.
Wow.
Yep. I've been using that for years. But guys, so we're looking forward to next week. Are you guys looking forward to next week? Did you watch that? Did you watch that?
Did the new one start?
Well, no. The new one. This is what happened. They had the final episode for the 13th Doctor. Thank God. And they ended it with who she regenerates into. And I won't spoil it for you. And then there's going to be 3 specials next November. Not this November, but November 2023. And then those 3 specials will culminate in the new Doctor taking over. And rumor has it Disney has secured the rights. Disney will be the new future home of Doctor Who. Doctor Who streaming in the U.S. will only be on Disney Plus and not HBO Max. I don't know when it's going to leave
partnering.
Max, though.
So they're like partnering with BBC in a sense? Or?
So they will have the exclusive rights in the U.S. to stream Doctor Who. Yes.
Yeah, but they don't own Doctor Who. I mean, they didn't buy it from the BBC, right? The BBC still owns it, right?
BBC technically owns it, but guess who's producing it? Bad Wolf Productions. Davies himself. So,
no, I'll have to watch the last one. I kind of. No, I'll watch it just because I know she's changing, but I kind of lost interest in the show during the last. During the last
Francis,
Doctor.
That's why I'm not saying any specifics. Okay, I'm not going to say any specifics. But John, you let me know when you watch it. You and I are going to have a talk.
All right.
Yeah. We'll have a one-off Doctor Who special where you and I will talk Doctor Who, and we can bitch and moan about all of the bad. There was a lot of good in the episode, and you're gonna fist pump like this so many times.
Well, I've been watching it. I've been a Doctor Who since Tom Baker. When I was a kid.
Yeah, I watched it on PBS. I watched it on PBS.
Exactly. Yeah. And I loved what I loved about him back then was I loved the aliens, the robots. He even fought the Loch Ness monster once as a giant. It was a giant kaiju. It was a giant kaiju Loch Ness monster.
Richard T. Davies has said that because he's taking back the show, he's running the show and producing the show now. So the guy who brought it back in 2005 is taking it back again. Okay. He has said that if you think the surprises in this episode, in the finale, were something, he says you just wait until you see what happens. There are robots. There's so much from the past that is coming into the present that you have no idea.
Well, and I don't just want them to rehash let's bring back Cybermen again. Let's bring back Daleks again. Let's bring back. I liked that there was different aliens all the time, and
it aired on BBC America yesterday at 8:00 p.m. If you have a cable provider that carries BBC America, you should be able to pull it up. on your on-demands. I know Spectrum has it on BBC America On Demand. You may be able to pull it up on BBC website or BBC America website. I will say this: avoid YouTube at all costs because so many YouTubers have been spoiling it with clips all over YouTube.
Even thumbnails.
Yeah, it's being spoiled everywhere. So if you don't want to be spoiled, as soon as the Leapcast is over, switch over to BBC America and take a look online. It may be even on their website.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy. I mean, I saw rumors and speculations. I'm not going to discuss those rumors or speculations here. We will do a separate stream. I will announce it, and me and John will talk, and we'll have everyone who wants to be on talk about it. I'm looking forward to the future, but we got to wait a whole damn year for it. Bastards. That's all I'm going to say. Bastards. So I'm just going to pull up BBC America to see if it's viewable very quickly, and I'll give you guys an answer. Yes. Okay, I'm going to click on it and see if it will actually play, because it's called Power of the Doctors, 2 hours. We get 2 hours, so it's like part 1 and part 2. So you get 2 1-hour episodes combined as one. Explain the commercial. I don't need to know Capital One's in your wallet, Sam Jackson. Stop it. What's in your wallet? Not much. I caught some Doctor. Yeah, Doctor. See, to me, I've met Peter Capaldi, him and Paul McGann. Though they are both awesome. Paul McGann is actually a big favorite of mine. He's amazing. I love him. He's a very awesome guy. He's all about the fans, and so is Peter Capaldi. I mean, Peter Capaldi gave my wife a damn hug because I said, "Oh, you're my wife's favorite doctor," and he was like, "Well, then she's got to come back over here. She's got to get a hug." I mean, Capaldi I had a sonic screwdriver in my hand. He grabs it. He says, "Are you ready to save the universe?" You know, he was all about it. Fan Expo was just amazing. Yeah, you can watch it on BBC America. I'm playing it right now. I have the sound off. So, yeah, you can go to BBC America's website. You don't have to log in or anything. So, bbcamerica.com. You can go there. You can watch Doctor Who, Power of the Doctor. There are some funny scenes in there. I will say that. It hits a lot of good notes. Some things I'm annoyed at, and some things I'm glad that this incarnation came to an end. But I like the callbacks. I love the Easter eggs in here. It was amazing, guys. So we've talked about Quantum Leap. We talked a little bit about Hasbro pissing me off. I have a VPN that I can use to show my IP in the UK, so I'll be able to use it. Yeah. So BBC should still. Do they still use iPlayer? So yeah, you should just be able to pull it right off their website. So yeah, go for it. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Logo looks like Blind Spot. Well, yeah. Did you know that the current showrunner of Quantum Leap is the guy who ran Blind Spot, Martin Giroux? So yeah. Horsey Face versus Barcelona. That's not a spoiler. Matt Smith is my favorite. He's the most quirky. Yeah, Matt Smith is awesome. By the way, John, I did finish House of Dragons. And
did you handle those time jumps?
Yeah, I mean,
my brother was not happy about the actors changing at all. And
I really wasn't
I agree
too psyched about it.
When the actors changed, I was like, "What the hell?" You know, like
sounds like the name of
But this,
yes, it does.
The last episode of that, though,
next week will be good. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, the last episode of
ended on 9 episodes. Just make it number 10. Come on,
no, number 10 really? Is already out. It just
came
out. Yeah.
Okay.
And that episode's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that because I watched 9 episodes.
Like the dragon battle.
I binged it like 2 days.
Cool. Yeah.
That's just how I am. I'm psychotic. I enjoyed Matt Smith in it. I really liked him in it.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's kind of an ass at times, but like other times, yeah, it's like it's awesome. And I love seeing all the other Doctor Who actors that were in it.
Yeah, a lot of people are. Yeah.
So, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm so psyched that James Gunn is going to be co-heading DC because that means more Peacemaker. Peacemaker is secured.
The one thing that I would wonder about is, does that mean they're all going to be comedies then?
Well, I see. That's the thing. A lot of people think James Gunn is just all comedy, but I think he finds a good balance. Not everything is all comedy. I mean, yeah, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of pick up on certain things, but I think he's a good writer. I mean,
yeah.
Take a look at what was it?
But I guess what I mean is that, like, I don't.
What is it? The Heist of the Dead or whatever it was called.
I don't picture like Superman and Batman pulling off those kind of jokes like Harley Quinn and Peacemaker can make. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get that. And
what you know, Star-Lord,
he can follow
what Star-Lord can do. So it's just kind of like, maybe that's why they got both guys, because the other guy can kind of rein him in during the Superman or Batman thing. But I don't
know. The way Peacemaker comes off is because of that kind of character. He's kind of meant to be kind of a goofy comic relief. You know, just a guy who, he's a moron, but he's a lovable moron to an extent. You know? So I think, but I'm psyched to see where it goes because James Gunn's passionate.
Yeah.
He takes his time. He takes his time with everything. He finds people that are perfect for these roles for the most part. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Dave Bautista as Drax. He's made that role his own.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful. Yeah, great.
I mean, he does an amazing job. I'm trying to think. What was it? Was it the Heist of the Dead? It was like where there's Vegas is all like a zombie land kind of a thing, and he gets like there's these people who are supposed to go in and they're supposed to steal like millions of dollars at this one casino.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a good movie.
There was a little, maybe a hint of a humor in it, but it was a pretty good. And that was a good movie. I think that was Snyder, but I mean,
both of those movies were good. The other one was good too.
Imagine if you get Snyder.
They did two in that universe, you know.
Get Snyder and Gunn together on one movie, and let's see what happens. That's what I want to see. So we're going to wrap things up here. Just kind of surprised they didn't wait to drop it during Xmas. Love how DC announced this news after the trailer.
Yeah.
He's hey, like his stuff in Marvel. Well, guess what? He's ours now. Exactly. So, guys, I want to thank Super Awesome Geek Show, as always, for leaping in here into the imaging chamber, hanging out with us, talking some Quantum Leap. Super John, what do you have going on this week?
Well, I'm still building the toy condo here. I got this wall done, and then
So, are you going to name it Toy Condoroga?
I just set up this whole area, you know. So putting in that stuff, and the pile that was down here is almost gone. Now I've got TIE fighters over there and stuff. So, yeah, things are getting put on display and put in their spots. And the main toy room is what's being worked on now. So
if you run out of space, you can always ship stuff off to Buffalo. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's. I hadn't even touched the 2 storage sheds, which was the whole idea. That's what I mean. I think I'm still gonna run out of room, because the whole plan was to set up all this display space in the living room and take over the whole condo and turn it into a museum.
Well,
because
you're forgetting one thing, John. You have a ceiling. Take some 3M command strips and hang the stuff on the ceiling.
It's a stucco ceiling. I can't. It's not flat.
Oh, so it's like mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That sucks.
Yep.
That sucks ass to a straw.
And it's made out of some kind of concrete that, believe me, I bought a hammer drill that cost, hundreds of dollars, and these special drill bits that are supposed to go through concrete, and like you could drill through freaking aircraft carriers and shit. You know what I mean? This is like military grade, and it will not touch the ceiling. The ceiling is made of some kind of concrete that is so strong, it actually broke the concrete bit, and the hammer drill was like getting red hot. It was like It actually snapped the drill bit before. It didn't even touch. It didn't even scratch. Like there's not even a scratch on the ceiling, like a mark on the surface at all. And it's like I don't know what they made this stuff out of, but
that's crazy.
It is not. It's impenetrable. So nothing can be hung from. Because I was going to hang stuff from the ceiling, like ships and stuff, but I can't even get into it, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. And it works on this wall. This wall's concrete, and it works on that wall.
My walls are all like drywall, and that's why I kind of have I have my desk in like the center of the room.
Well, the interior walls are all drywall, but this is an exterior wall, and the exterior going to the outside is concrete. So
yeah, see, I don't like drilling into anything because when we do eventually move out of here, I don't want to do a bunch of patching up the walls. That's my whole thing.
I'm not moving.
All of this, well, see, all of this is not concrete. This is all drywall.
Yeah,
which sucks.
I own this place, so I'm not moving.
Okay.
This is where I live till I die.
It's going to be entombed in there.
Yeah.
Ferris says, future cancer patient with popcorn ceiling.
Right? Yeah.
By the way, beware the witch.
Uh-oh. Looks more like Princess Leia than a witch.
No, beware the witch. She's got her witch hat.
Hello.
And by the way, guys, speaking of witches, no, not Mrs. Dimension. Although she plays one on TV. If anyone is looking for some last-minute Halloween ideas, I would like to point you guys over to my TeePublic page. If we can get this right.
Yeah, we just see an infinite thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
You get that up.
20% off.
Yep, 20% off right now on TeePublic with coupons. On Dave's Dimension, we have the evolution of Dave's Dimensions logo. You can get this on t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies, cell phone holders, but we also have some designs for Good Witch and also Bad Witch.
Nice. Oh, you can pick your colors. Look at that. Yeah,
yep, you can pick your colors. This is the Bad Witch shirt. I'm trying to get it to load. It takes TeePublic a while for it to load, but you can see the design right there. You can play around with different colors. We just uploaded this today. You guys will see it there in a second. So normally these shirts go for $22. Right now, TeePublic has a sale for $14. And there's this design, and also, of course, you got the Good Witch design, because you gotta have good and bad, right? We're gonna leave those up. Right now, I'm gonna leave those up for the time being. We're gonna introduce some other designs to the channel, to the store, and all the proceeds. Any money we're going to get here is going to go towards some. We've got a special promotion going on next month, not with TeePublic. Dave's Dimension is going to be doing a little diorama giveaway with our buddy Duffman's diorama.
Cool.
Yes, sir. Give me just a second here. Sorry. Yeah, so Mrs. Dimension wanted to show off her little Halloweeny outfit because we have a wedding to go to this weekend. Special Halloween weekend wedding. One of our teammates is getting married this weekend, so we're doing a little road trip down to Ohio. Hopefully, I'll hit up a few stores, maybe do a little bit of toy hunting if we can. We'll see what happens with that. So John is doing a work in progress. Are you going to call it the Toy Condo?
Oh, it's going to be Toy Condo by the time I'm done, yeah.
Toy Condo Roga?
The Toy Condo, yeah. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple days, though, we'll be opening Mojo.
Please do, Francis. We would love to have you on, even if it's just audio only.
And we will be opening Galactus. And look at this. Look at this. Mojo is in a million pieces.
Whenever someone says Mojo, I just think of
all these parts. All these parts are individually wrapped in tissue paper and thrown in the box. So Mojo is like a project. It's not. You don't just open the box and get an action figure. I mean, the box is. Look how thin it is. And you know how big Mojo's got to be, So this is actually like a model or something. I'm like, there's got to be like 1,000 pieces in there. So we're going to be putting that together on video. We'll put that together on camera.
I got to find time to build Optimus.
Yeah, right.
I won't be able to do it this weekend because we're traveling Saturday morning. We're going to be heading back to Buffalo Sunday morning. Probably Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, we'll be back here. Sunday night, I'm going to be on Yukon Phil's channel. So we're going to be doing a live stream on a nice little hangout. Yukon Phil is an awesome YouTuber. You guys definitely want to check him out. This week, I already dropped a video on Hooded Black Adam. We have Black Adam with the throne that is dropping this week. I also have a tech video dropping this week, guys, where we are comparing the Elgato face cam, which I use right now, versus the Epoch cam on a cell phone. Both products are made by Elgato, and we're going to see how much of a difference between the two. And I just so happen to be using it on my iPhone 14 Pro Max, and there is a big difference between the two. We're going to be rolling out some more tech videos around this phone and around just using a cell phone in general for your gear. In the past, I have done videos on mounts that you can use for your cell phone because, let's face it, some of us don't have the money for DSLR. Well,
I use my phone for my camera, yeah.
Yeah. And Dino does all of his editing off of his damn phone.
Yeah, I do.
That's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to kind of do like, hey, a lot of people talk about using your cell phone. Let's see what can we do with our cell phones to really crank things up a notch, and that's what those videos are going to be about. Just like if you don't even have to have an iPhone 14, you can have an iPhone 12, an iPhone 11, and you can still do some pretty amazing videos. You get the right app, you get the right pieces. It'd be pretty amazing what you can do, guys. So that's what we have going on, Dave's Dimension. I'm going to be cranking out more videos. I still got a ton of McFarlane. We got Black Series I still have to unbox. We got a lot going on. And hopefully some more hunts. I still have Marvel Legends from like maybe a year ago to unbox. I still have a few figures that I got from Christmas last year I haven't unboxed yet. So I still have videos to make on those. So guys, there we are. Also, please keep an eye on the lookout. You're going to see me doing some streams on Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. And if you guys want to ever add me, Dave's Dimension, you can add me by on Xbox at DJ Leap 1015 at just on the Xbox. And of course, you guys know what to do. You can always find Wolfpack, and you can always find there's Wolfpack's information. He's MIA this week, guys. Don't worry, he'll be back sooner. And of course, you can find him on YouTube and Instagram at Wolfpack Toy Review. I'm going to show some love for our fellow Leaper who isn't here this week. And of course, this is the channel where chaos and insanity reign supreme. If you guys haven't hit that like button, please do. You can always hit me up on Instagram at Daves_Dimension. And if you feel the need to help out and maybe sponsor the channel a little bit, we have our Cash App at $Daves Dimension. It helps with improving things such as, well, I think I might have to get rid of this desk. This desk is kind of falling apart on me. I think I need something a little bit more stable. Also, I had an accident with my keyboard. My keyboard's not exactly working. That's a no-no. So, guys, until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension. This is Super Awesome Geek Show. We are the Leapers. This was the Leapcast. Thank you for leaping into the imaging chamber. And, guys, we will see you next week. And you know what I'm going to say. I say it every single time. Well, this was live.
Stay awesome, everybody.
Keep on busting. And we're always going to catch you guys on the flip side. Take care, be well, and we'll catch you on the next one.